I come from the world of journalism and political communications, and each word, each thought, each story is so painstakingly thought out, researched, and then published. And if you're good at your job, you can predict almost every reaction and strategically craft your message to speak to the audience that you want. So, after 15 years of living in that space, a space of constraint, control, and deliberate messaging, I got out. I served my time, and I was so deeply proud of the thousands and thousands of stories I was able to tell as a journalist. And also, I was proud of the difficult work of keeping a city informed during a global pandemic and nightly riots as the director of communications for the city of Portland. I needed a break, and I took a sabbatical. But it was during that time that I saw the first video of an elderly Asian man getting punched out of nowhere, then another in a wheelchair kicked, then an Asian woman repeatedly beaten on her way to church in New York City. And my heart stopped. I wept and wept and wept. My people were being attacked because of hate, generationally fueled hate, rising now to the fore thanks to the weaponization of COVID. Asians were scapegoated yet again, and this time for a global pandemic. We weren't seen as humans, but as viruses. And because of that dehumanization, we were punched, we were kicked, we were killed. And when we're not seen as viruses, the other racist stereotypes come to light. Asian women in particular are seen as temptations, as servile, docile, submissive creatures. And these deeply rooted conscious and subconscious beliefs angered me. These racist perceptions that have been unchallenged for generations because we kept quiet. Our strength was actually in our restraint at the face of such disgusting attitudes, and we continue to persevere. But enough. We are evolving from the well-intentioned guidance our parents and our ancestors gave to keep a low profile, to not challenge the status quo. But we are evolving now because the world has changed. And when our meekness continues to be seen as weakness, continues to fuel the rage and justification for verbal and physical violence, we say no more. And so, after 15 years in journalism and political communications, living in a space of constraint, control, and deliberate messaging, I found myself stepping outside of that training into unfamiliar, frightening territory. And I found myself being at the center of a world determined to let me know how they really thought of me, a racialized woman, after the announcement of my wedding was published. And the world needed to let me know where I belonged, that I was not human of equal standing to them, that I was still a fetishized object simply by being an Asian woman, an object to ridicule, to attack, and to dehumanize. And it was then I finally realized constraint, control, and deliberate messaging does not work in that space. I realized they needed to hear a swift, unexpected blow to challenge those historically unchallenged beliefs, exposing not only overt racism, but the covert ones. Those are the scarier ones because they come with a smile. We don't have the luxury anymore of carefully calculated messaging, but in a way, that's a good thing. We need soul, we need truth, and we need honesty. Brutal honesty. And so, in a strange way, to honor especially the legacies of Asian women everywhere, I spoke unfiltered, unguarded, laying bare the most shame triggering stories of being hypersexualized, dismissed, stories of rising from poverty and financial ruin. And the initial avalanche of hate was soon covered with an avalanche of solidarity from all over the world, just from words. Imagine. That is the surprising power of brutal honesty. Thank you.